sign number one is you're saving at least 15% of your income. If you're saving 15% or more of your income, congratulations, family. You're already doing better than most Americans who live paycheck to paycheck with little to no savings. I've been there. Let's be real. Saving is tough, especially when it feels like there's always another expense around the corner. I remember one time I had to work overtime just so that I could fix my car. But if you're able to consistently put away a chunk of your income, you're already ahead of the game. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I used to make, and I'm sure a lot of people make this as well, is not paying ourselves first. We spend whatever we have left after bills, entertainment, and random Amazon purchases. And before we know it, there's nothing left to save. And that's not how it should be. In fact, here's one way that I've learned to fix this situation, and that is automating your savings. Seriously, this one trick can change your life. If you set up an automatic transfer to your savings account, and as soon as you get paid, the money will get there. So treat it like a non-negotiable bill, and you're going to see how much your savings account skyrockets. This is a strategy that my wife and I are currently using, and we started using only a couple of months ago after we started getting tired of always having to transfer. So we just started looking into improvements to our financial system, and that's one of the best ones that we implemented. Sign number two is you have a growing emergency fund. I get a lot of comments from people and questions asking me, hey, how can I establish an emergency fund? This is something that I wish I would have known 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. Now, an emergency fund might not sound exciting, but it's one of the best indicators that you're doing well financially and that you're on track. According to a recent study, only 39% of Americans could cover a $1,000 emergency with their savings. If it built up a solid cushion, let's say 3 to 6 months of living expenses, you're not just above average, you're in the top tier of financial security. And I can tell you this is crucial when you start having more responsibilities, especially when you have a family and you are married. Now, the truth is, too many people out there rely on credit cards for emergencies, which often leads to debt spirals. Using debt to cover an unexpected expense makes it harder to get ahead because you're not just paying off what you borrowed, you're also, in many instances, paying off the interest if you haven't really built up the muscle and the habit of paying off your credit card on time. So here's one way that we can fix and address the situation. The key is, number one, start small if you haven't built an emergency fund yet. Maybe aim for $1,000 or $2,000 to start, and then start building from there. Every dollar saved for emergencies is a dollar that can save you from future death. As Warren Buffett puts it, do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. This is one of my favorite quotes of all time. So prioritize your emergency fund, even if it means cutting back on something else for a while. Sign number 3 is you're not drowning in lifestyle inflation. If you manage to avoid lifestyle inflation, that is the urge to upgrade your life with every raise or bonus, my friend, you are winning. Many six-figure earners fall into the trap of spending more than they earn, ending up with no more savings than they had when they were making half as much. Trust me, I have been there, and I used to just overspend way too much, always traveling, always being on the road, and I never really paid attention to this. But if you're living below your means and using your extra income to save or invest, you're ahead of many high earners out there. Now, here's something that I was doing wrong, and I'm sure many people out there are also making this mistake. Certainly, I see this with the coaching clients that I get. People often believe, or we believe, that making more money will solve all your problems. But as your income goes up, sometimes your expectations also go up. Suddenly, the reliable car isn't good enough. The modest house feels too small, and vacations have to be more extravagant. And this is textbook lifestyle inflation, and it keeps high earners trapped in a cycle of paycheck dependency every single month. Now, here's one way that we can address this right now. Practice mindful spending. Increase your investments and your savings and where you can allocate your money first, and then decide if you really need that lifestyle upgrade. As Dave Ramsey says, act your wage. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. You don't have to keep up with people portraying this luxurious lifestyle on social media, especially if the Joneses are broke. Little did you know, all of them, most of them are probably broke and relying on credit card spending. Sign number 4 that you're doing better than most people, you above average, is you're investing in the market and not just your savings. Now, of course, we all know that saving is great, but investing is what really takes your financial growth to the next level. If you're already contributing to your 401k and maybe an individual retirement account or an IRA, I recently made a video about the Roth IRA and the 401k, or even dabbing into index funds, you're ahead of many Americans who are still keeping all of their money in savings accounts. Not too long ago, I talked to a friend who was keeping her $93,000 savings in Bank of America, only earning 0.4 or 0.04%. Absolutely outrageous. Eventually, she actually did sign up with a high-yield savings account. But in my personal opinion, that's the least you can do. At least you can put your money in a high-yield savings account while you decide what to do exactly with that money. So here's one way to address this. The key in my personal experience is to start small, especially if you're nervous about investing. Just get the hang of it. Look into index funds or ETFs, which are great low-risk ways to dip your toes in the market. You start with $100. You can even start with $1. So if you want to learn how to do this, please let me know in the comments. Take Warren Buffett's advice. The stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient. The key is to stay invested over the long term and then let your money grow. Let the beautiful compound interest do the work. Sign number 5 that you're above average is that you're mindful of your debt. Now, here's the thing. Debt isn't always a bad thing, and this is contrary to what many people believe out there. Sometimes it's necessary to get ahead, like it was for me, through student loans. But if managing your debt wisely and making progress on paying it down, you're already doing better than 70% of Americans who carry some form of debt. Being mindful of your debt means you're not just paying the minimum and hoping it goes away, you're actively working to eliminate it. And this is coming from somebody that used to be only $30,000 of credit card debt, and it was absolutely devastating. So here's what I used to do wrong and what many people are doing wrong. Many people ignore their debt until it becomes a crisis. Making minimum payments, high interest credit card balances, and impulsive purchases can trap high earners in a cycle of debt that we can never escape. So how you can address this is by getting serious about your debt, creating a plan, and this also includes improving your relationship with money and overcoming toxic relationships with it. You can also create a plan to pay it off, whether that's using the snowball method, which I love, by the way, or you can also use the avalanche method. My personal preference is the snowball. And guys, I know that getting out of debt can be extremely painful and it can be a long road in many cases, especially when, hey, I got out of $215,000 of total debt. But the key here is to remain patient, optimistic, and taking it one step at a time. As Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you can't, you're right. So believe that you can get out of debt, but don't just believe, right? You actually need to take action every month and then use a spreadsheet to track your progress. So if you saw yourself in any of these signs, you're already ahead of the curve. It's easy to forget that while we might not be quite what we want to be, we're often doing better than the vast majority of people. You might not have it all figured out, but you got the right foundation in place, and that's more than half the battle. Now, for those who are not quite there yet, don't be discouraged. Financial success is a marathon, it's not a sprint, and every small step you take puts you closer to your goals. The key is to start taking it seriously and ask your help when you need it. If you need help turning financial uncertainty, stress, maybe you need to get out of debt, establish your finances, and start taking life more seriously from a financial point of view, click the link in the description. I started offering one-on-one consulting sessions if you'd like me to help establish a financial report and establish a plan that is actionable, prioritized, and is specific to help you achieve your financial goals. Thank you guys for being here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what kind of challenges I can help you with. Peace.